In May 2022, a major fashion brand did the unthinkable. They reduced the range of plus-size clothing they're selling in stores. It's a major blow to plus-size fashion TikTokers everywhere, but one in particular took it upon herself to expose Old Navy's deep deception and betrayal towards the fat community. Today, we hear all about the damage inflicted by Old Navy and try to work towards healing the harm that's already been done.
But between 18 months and 3 months, which is what these are.
So go look at the video that I stitched, and then I think they also have one before that as well that's along similar lines. But basically they are comparing like 3-month shorts to like 4T shorts. And the only difference is basically a little bit in the length, which means clothing manufacturers, even in children, they expect you to get taller, but like not at all wider when it comes to women's clothing. Which, if it has been like this my entire life, honestly, that explains a lot of my trauma, because I couldn't wear youth sizes as a kid because I've always been a fat person. And I always had to shop in like the women's section, even before they had like cute clothes for plus size people. But like,
we're shaming baby clothes now? This is how low we've gotten that we have to talk about the lack of inclusivity in baby clothes? And what really got me about this video is that she only mentioned baby girls' clothing, even though I'm pretty sure brands aren't radically tailoring the girls' clothes differently than the boys' clothes. It's toddler clothing. It's supposed to be one size fits all based on age, but if it doesn't fit, get a different size. Why is that a big deal? But she uses this weird complaint to go on a rant about how she has trauma, that she's never been able to shop in the little girls' clothing section at the age she should have been because she was always fat. I think you should deal with this childhood trauma instead of projecting it onto toddler clothing 25 years later. And I feel like this video is a good jumping off point to give you background you need as to who this woman is and where her priorities lie.
And Suzanne decided to start looking into what was happening.
In my reporting, talking to employees, both former and current employees, they all pointed to the same thing. Without exception, they all pointed to the extended sizing as the problem.
Suzanne went to Old Navy stores and saw the problem firsthand.
You would see racks of clothes, let's say women's dresses, and there would be a size 2 and size, 18 through 28, but nothing in the middle. And they ended up with too much of the very small and the very large sizes, not enough of the middle sizes, which tend to be the most popular. So to clear out the excess, they had to put a large amount of clothes on sale, 50% off. And right now, retailers are not discounting very much because there's still these supply chain issues. There's still product shortages. So it really stood out as like, whoa, what's going on here? Why are all these clothes on sale at Old Navy?
so the reporter goes on to say that every store is going to be different, right? So some stores in certain areas are going to sell more of the plus sizes and certain stores are not, because that's just not their demographic. So I'm curious as to which stores she saw this problem in, because the people in my comments, I think one person experienced this problem. Everyone else has had the problem where the plus sizes are sold out either in store or also online, or their store does not have the plus sizes, like literally has never even stocked them since the beginning of the body quality campaign in August of 2021. So I'm very confused as to how plus sizes are the problem, but you admit that some stores wouldn't have this problem. And if we're talking about how it's an inventory and ordering issue, and part of the problem is ordering from the warehouses, kind of seems like an Old Navy inventory ordering issue and not a plus size expansion issue. I'm also very confused as to how Athleta can stock and have up to a size, I believe, 3X, and they're still under Gap Inc., and yet they don't have this problem. Full disclosure, I've never really shopped at Athleta, but a lot of people have been in my comments saying that they haven't had this problem since they launched a size expansion. But again, this is part of why I'm pushing back on Old Navy's excuses, because they don't really seem to add up, and I really think that we can do better and ask for better.
The original comment said, "So weird because my stores sell out of plus sizes quickly and there are plenty of straight sizes available." This woman says she doesn't know anyone that has seen an overabundance of large sizes at Old Navy to the point where all the clothes were put on sale, but her audience isn't big enough to get a proper survey of all or even most of Old Navy stores when it comes to their plus sizes. You've gotten, maybe 10 to 20 comments of people saying they've never seen X size plus size clothing at their local Old Navy, but Old Navy has all the purchase history and all the inventory information for every one of its stores. But you think that the 20 comments you got are enough to prove that Old Navy is lying about having excess plus size inventory? And there's also this statement.
So I'm very confused as to how plus sizes are the problem, but you admit that some stores wouldn't have this problem?
Yes, stores in different cities or neighborhoods have different clientele with different needs, which means some stores might sell out of a size 28 very quickly, while some may never sell a size 28. Why is that unbelievable? She's acting like that's completely out of the range of possibilities. Also, this different clientele issue could explain why Athleta has less problems stocking plus sizes than Old Navy. But also, she said that Athleta has no problem stocking up to a 3X. 3X is a lot smaller than the size 30 that Old Navy is discontinuing. So what's happening is Old Navy is reducing the sizes they're offering in store. They used to offer up to a size 30 in all stores as of last summer, but now they're reducing it in some of their stores to only go up to about a size 16 or 20. But Old Navy is still offering up to a size 30 if you buy it online. But she also said that Athleta has no problem stocking up to a 3X, but a 3X is a lot smaller than the size 30 that Old Navy is discontinuing in stores. A 3X is probably the equivalent of about a size 20. So mentioning that Athleta is doing fine going up to a size 3X kind of supports Old Navy's decision to reduce their plus sizes. Because if Athleta has no stocking problems and seems to have reasonable profits going up to a size 3X, it seems reasonable that Old Navy would see that as a reason why a size 20 might be a good max size for their stores. So it really does seem to add up.
So going back to their PR statement, something that they said in there was, so is body quality still a thing? But really the thing that they highlight the most is the price being the same. So something that they did as part of this launch was that plus sizes, since they used to be different styles, different offerings, they also used to have a different price point, right? Straight sizes, how it usually works is they will average the cost of fabric and cost of everything across the sizes that they offer. So like extra small through like extra large usually. So what they did for body quality was the extra small through either the 4X or 30, whatever in that particular item was the top size. They averaged the cost throughout the whole thing. So there was no disparity between the plus sizes and the straight sizes. So I just find it really interesting that they're saying body quality is still a thing, but people who work at the store are being told to take down all of the signage in their stores.
So what this means is that the smaller people that shop at Old Navy, particularly the women, have been subsidizing the larger sizes because there's no price difference between a size 0 and a size 30. But this woman is complaining about inclusivity because some plus sizes aren't being held in stores anymore. Not even that Old Navy isn't offering those sizes anymore, just that they will only be available online. So body equality is still the same. You're still getting a subsidized price for your clothing, but you just have to buy those clothes online now. How are you complaining about this? This seems like a great deal.
Yes, there is. So if you go to the link in my bio, I started a hashtag back on the rack, and there is a petition linked with that. There is also a pre-form email that you can copy and send. There's a link that you can send it directly to Old Navy. You can also comment on all of their social medias, let them know how this directly impacts you, make videos tagging them. It's all part of the push that I am trying to help make to get plus sizes back in store. And this is all things that we can do to take our power back.
There's a petition. They've made a petition to get the plus sizes back in stores. Oh, I cannot tell you how much I want to see these responses. I would pay money to see these submissions. She said she wanted to tell Old Navy how this affects them, but I know these forums are full of the most entitled responses ever. Hi, Old Navy. I just want to let you know that your store is not carrying a size 26 in stores will cause a major disruption in my life. Your store is in my local mall, which is over 2 miles away, so it's already a bit of a trek. But the only other store that offers my size in the mall is Torrid, which is on the complete opposite side of the mall from the door that I enter. I've attached a map so you can get a full picture of how far the Torrid is from my favorite entrance. It's at least a half a mile from one store to the other. Your lack of clothing choices in my size will cause major distress in my life, so please bring them back. Or at the very least, send me a scooter so the walk won't be as bad. Sincerely, an oppressed size 26. The commenter said that the petition should be started to show our numbers, but y'all already had the chance to show your numbers. It was during the time the clothes were available at the store. And now Old Navy already has all the numbers they need to show that certain sizes aren't worth selling. It's time to move on.
Remember the statement that Old Navy keeps saying that they're only cutting back plus sizes in 75 stores in the US? I may have done something bad. This is what it looks like if the plus size are carried there. See how it says shop plus women's here, and see how this one has nothing. I made an Excel spreadsheet and I'm going through each state, and you can see there's a good number that don't carry plus sizes. So far, I have only gotten through 6 states, but there's a total of 100 that do not carry plus sizes. More than 75. It's gonna take me a while, but should I keep going?
No, absolutely not. No, you should not continue this. I've said many times before that fat activists put so much time into doing things that don't help fat people at all. They rarely talk about things like food deserts, but instead spend their time making extremely privileged complaints about plane seats and cute clothing instead of doing anything that actually benefits the majority of fat people. And this woman is the true blue embodiment of that. With the amount of energy she's putting in to take down Old Navy, she could, I don't know, look into starting her own plus-size fashion brand in her town. But instead, she's spending hours and hours documenting information to try to prove her own conspiracy that Old Navy is lying about their plus sizes being unprofitable. What is she hoping to get out of this? I'm honestly very curious, because it's not like Old Navy doesn't already have this information. She's chasing a conspiracy and claiming it's about social justice. So, no, I don't think you should continue. It's time for a brief intermission on the Old Navy saga to discuss another important matter. In my research for this video, I came across something. This woman made a video replying to me over 3 months ago, and I never saw it. And I probably would have never seen it if all of this Old Navy drama had not happened. On its own, this response is not very interesting, and I would have never dedicated a full video to it. But since we're already here and talking about her, let's look at it. Also, the first minute is completely uninteresting, so I'm not going to show it.
And a clip of mine from my TikTok video has been used in a fat liberationist cringe TikTok compilation over on YouTube. And that's like the entirety of their channel. And the thing is, I knew that something like this would eventually happen because it's happened to so many people that I'm mutuals with, either on YouTube or through Twitter. And I have a different reaction than I thought I would have. Definitely the hate comments came before I knew that the channel existed. There was a day a few weeks ago that I noticed within a couple hours, I had like 6 different people commenting like really hateful things. And that's not usual for me. Usually, I don't get any hate comments, or I'll get like a random one maybe 2 in a day, and then I won't get any for like a month. So like it's very random. So the fact that I had like 6 people within a couple hours of each other made me know that something was up. I just didn't know what. And then earlier today, I saw one of my mutuals post that they heard about this YouTube channel, and I went and looked through their videos, and sure enough, there's a clip of me on there. So clearly, this is where that hate came from. So previously, I thought to myself, if that happened to me, I would be really freaked out that like someone was using my content, they were sending hateful people over to comment on my stuff, and I would be freaked out and like scared and intimidated by, you know, all of these people sending hate my way. I feel the opposite today. And you know why? It's because I'm thinking to myself, what kind of a person spends their time dissecting other people's videos, taking clips of them, compiling them, and they have a lot of videos about this, just to prove us wrong and like say that we need to be thin and healthier. Like, who wants to dedicate their time to that? Who has that much time?
I do. I have that much time. And it's well worth it to me. But it's okay. I'm judging you for spending your time making spreadsheets and petitions to force a business to provide clothing in your size, and you're judging me for making these videos. So I guess we're just going to go tit for tat on that one. And she said I make these videos to prove people wrong, which is kind of true. I make these videos to show how hypocritical and misinformed fat acceptance is. But she also said that I make my videos to try to say people need to be thin and healthy. I've never said that, which leads me to believe that she never watched any of my videos in their entirety. She judged the book by its cover and assumed I said something like that.
I don't care about anything that much.
It seems like you care about Old Navy that much. Are you trying to insult me by saying I'm too passionate about what I do? I guess I'll take it. Now, if you've watched most or all of my videos, you may be questioning who this woman is. Like I was when I first saw this response video, because I could swear I've never put this woman in any of my videos before. I don't recognize her. So I was confused. But I looked at the hashtags on this video and she put hashtag #BeBellyCrew. And there's only one video where I ever mentioned anything about B-bellies. But simply acknowledging parts of your body is not body checking. And fat activists only have a problem with this type of body checking when you're referencing body parts that are considered conventionally attractive, like being thin or having a small waist. But let me show you this trend that other fat women have done on TikTok. It's women talking about having a B-belly, which is a specific shape of their stomach that shows from a profile view.
I'm in the shape of a B. It goes out, it goes in, and then right back out. Because I'm a bad bitch.
I'll show it to you again. So I have this upper part and then a lower part and then this like waistband line in the middle.
Now, I don't really care if people want to bond over the shape of their stomachs, but considering this woman considers a skinny person simply talking about the shape of their body's body checking, why haven't I seen her make a video scolding these people for talking about the shape of their bellies in a positive way? She never watched the video. I don't even think she turned the audio on the video. I think she saw that she was in my video, she saw the clip I took was about B-bellies, and then she made this entire response about me and my channel based on that. But all I did was use her as an example of what a B-belly was. I didn't even criticize her at all. She came to all these conclusions about my channel, that I'm telling people that they need to be healthier and that people need to lose weight and fat people are X, Y, and Z, all based on one clip of hers that I put in one of my videos that she didn't even watch in context. I was confused when I saw this woman made a video about me, and I'm honestly even more confused now. You have all this time to make spreadsheets chasing a conspiracy, but you don't have 10 minutes to watch my full video before insulting me?
I don't think. I would never spend my time doing that. And the other thing is, like, I'm doing real world things to make the world more inclusive. I'm in a research study currently that's going on that includes fat people. I was in one a few months ago that was studying fat bias in medicine. I'm helping 2 different brands extend their size range. Like, what do you think that person's doing? I'm on the right side.
All right. She believes she's in the right when it comes to the content she makes. We can agree to disagree about the ethics of each other's content, but her mentioning all these things she does to benefit the world gives me very, I go to church every Sunday so I can do no wrong vibes. You know who I'm talking about? The person who reads their Bible every night and brags about being an avid churchgoer and generally feels superior to everyone else because of it. Yeah, I get those vibes from her. She asked what people think I do in my free time, with the implication that I couldn't possibly be doing that much good in the world. But why does that matter? What if I don't do any altruistic good in the world off of YouTube? What if I work as a barista and I wake up at 5 a.m., I go to work, I come home, I feed my pets, I call my parents, I watch TV, and I go to bed. Rinse and repeat. I don't participate in medical trials, I don't volunteer at soup kitchens, none of that. Does that mean that my content and my opinions should automatically be taken less seriously than yours? Do you really believe that no matter what other differing opinions someone has, your thoughts are more correct because you do more good in the world? That's the only way I can justify why you thought it was necessary to bring up your off-TikTok activities, like your campaign for inclusivity and your participation in medical trials, when talking about how you're more, quote, in the right than me. You came to the conclusion that my YouTube content produces nothing good for the world, and so I must not contribute anything good to the world, and therefore your thoughts and opinions are automatically more right than mine, by default. And you also said all of this after clearly not watching even one of my full videos? Damn. Okay. Maybe stop wearing your altruism like a badge of honor. People might start to think your conspicuous kindness is all for show.
As I have said to many a troll who have been suggesting this to me, where else do you want us to go? Because as someone who wears a 26/4X pants, I can tell you I have 2 stores, Lane Bryant and Torrid, and I am lucky enough to have one of those in a very short distance from me, and then Torrid is a little bit further. But if I wasn't lucky enough to have those 2 near me, I would have nothing. If you don't know what that means no last minute interviews, no last minute dinners, no last minute events. You have to plan your entire life 2 weeks in advance to be able to order something online for that. You have to pre-plan your entire life ahead of time. Everyone wants to say, oh, well, it's still available online. It's so easy. You want to say it's so easy until you're actually put in that position. If you have never been in a fat body, please stop giving us advice.
Ooh, the entitlement is strong on this one. So your lifestyle of chronic overeating and lack of pre-planning is a reason why the rest of the world has to accommodate you? This reminds me of the financial diet video I did where the guest said that fat people are oppressed because if clothing stores don't have someone's size in stores, they may not be able to prepare for a last-minute interview the night before. The horror! Imagine living under the oppressive expectation of having one prepared interview outfit in your closet at all times. The injustice of it all makes me sick. And this woman is no better. If Old Navy doesn't have my size in store and I want to go out for a night with my friends, I'll only have 2 local stores to get clothes at. Only 2! How can you not see how oppressive that is? Hi, Old Navy. I have an update on my previous message. There's good news and there's bad news. The good news is that my mall also has a Lane Bryant, so there's actually 2 stores for me to shop at. The bad news is that it's even further from my favorite entrance. I've attached another map so you can see where it is. So this still means I'm going to need you to bring back my size in stores. I've also attached the scooter model I need you to send me to get to Lane Bryant while your store restocks my size. It's a red one with white stripes and
Can you not see the endless amounts of hauls that plus size people did over the past year? Because a lot of us supported it. A lot of us. So that's also part of why I think this is a crock of crap.
And now this is more of her inability to think past her own bubble. Well, I saw at least 8 plus-size Old Navy hauls in the past 9 months on TikTok, so I don't believe Old Navy is struggling. It's not possible. That's at least $1,200 we gave them, so they have to be lying to us. She also said in another video that this whole campaign against Old Navy was about accessibility.
And communicate to Gap Inc. that plus-size people matter and need accessibility.
She said this is about accessibility, but her entire TikTok page is about reviewing plus-size clothes. I'm not against clothing sizes carrying any specific sizes, but I am against the idea that not carrying any size in store is an accessibility issue. There is clearly enough plus-size clothing in existence that her channel stays alive, and you get to move about in your daily life with clothes on your back. Seems like clothing is pretty accessible then, don't you think? How many clothing options are you entitled to so that your rights as a plus-size person aren't infringed upon? I would really like to know. And the fact that she calls this whole campaign an accessibility issue is a new level of entitlement for fat activism. We're talking about an abundance of access to clothing, not something we need to survive. If I had a friend come to me and say that it was an accessibility issue, that they only have access to 2 fully stocked grocery stores nearby, whereas another friend has access to 4 grocery stores in their neighborhood, I would call them entitled. Simply not having access to something that another person has is not an accessibility issue. And in that case, we're talking about fresh food. Something that is far more necessary for survival and health, and a lot harder to have delivered for most people than the Old Navy clothing that some people will now have to buy online instead of in store. Having access to 3, 4, 10 clothing store options is not a human right.
Hi, Old Navy. Thank you for leaving this comment letting me know that you have finally updated your website, and so now it should accurately reflect what you said in your PR statement about over 90% of your stores still carrying plus sizes. However, I would pose a few questions to you, and I would love for you to take some accountability in this situation. Do you think it's possible that some people may have been referencing the website over the past year to check and see if their local store carried plus sizes, and if the website was incorrect, maybe that led to them thinking their size wasn't carried there, and that led to them not shopping in your store? Have you thought about the fact that not mentioning body quality on your social media since the end of 2021 led to a lack of visibility within the plus size community? Have you thought about the fact that so many of us in larger bodies on TikTok were buying your clothes and pushing out content, really supporting you, and no one at Old Navy acknowledged that, and you could have utilized that and partnered with some larger creators here in order to market this launch a little bit better? Do you think that if there was an issue with the inventory sizes extra small through extra large, you could have rectified that in a way that didn't impact the plus sizes at all? Do you think that if there were some select stores that weren't doing well in selling the plus sizes, that perhaps you could have picked up the marketing in those specific markets, or looked at the online sales in those markets that you have had since 2004 to see if maybe people in those areas are actually ordering the plus sizes, they just didn't know that it was available to them in store? I think a lot of these are really valuable questions, maybe things that you haven't even considered, but I think it's time for some accountability. And I read the transcript from the Q1 2022 Poor Numbers meeting. A lot of things were thrown out there: inventory, supply issues, fleece, activewear, kids and baby not doing well, but the only thing pulled, plus sizes.
She asked, one, if people may have been referencing the Old Navy site that has inaccurate information about plus sizes, but she can't really know how long the site has been out of date. It may have been accurate for most of those dates since last summer, or it could have been out of date the whole time. We can't really know. She also said that if some stores that plus sizes weren't selling well, they could have picked up the marketing in those stores. She really can't understand that some products aren't going to sell well in some markets. Some places tend to have lower obesity rates, so less people are going to buy size 24s. In offering those sizes in those areas, which includes the shipping and handling costs of shipping those clothes to a store to provide for a near non-existent demographic, may not be profitable. It's like opening a mall kiosk in Minnesota to sell sunscreen in December. You're probably not going to do very well. She also said that there were reports that other clothing departments weren't doing well, like fleece and baby clothes. But those departments, first of all, probably aren't new, so they probably sold well at some point, so they could make them profitable again down the road. Second, she said they are only pulling plus sizes, but again, they aren't discontinuing the plus size line. They just aren't bringing them into some stores. They're still available online. And third, as she already acknowledged, the plus-size clothing line had to be more expensive than the other lines because of the fact that the cost of the clothing was averaged between all sizes. Remember how a size 0 cost the same as a size 30? Yeah. That means the price for all the clothes in the women's line were probably increased, meaning that the plus-size line had to be extra successful to justify the increased cost to the entire line. And it must not have been. The clothes didn't sell as well as people expected. So you can't compare the women's plus size line to the baby clothes line as a one-to-one comparison. They're very different. And she's upset about Old Navy not keeping their site updated and not mentioning the body quality campaign or partnering with people on TikTok to sell their products, and that Old Navy should take accountability for all of that. But what she's mad about is the fact that Old Navy may or may not have marketed their products well enough. How can you hold a brand accountable for bad marketing? Not offensive marketing, not misleading marketing, just bad marketing. Why would they need to be held accountable for that? And if Old Navy did mess up the marketing of their line or made a mistake when it came to shipping amounts or other things when it came to the plus size line, that's still not a reason to try to force them to bring the line back. There are countless products or services that tank in profits due to bad marketing, but that doesn't mean consumers that liked that product get to demand that they stay around. The brand messed up. Like, there was this bakery I used to love that had a very bad location on an off street in this tiny location that was very difficult to find. They had great food and great prices, but nobody knew it was there, and eventually they closed. Maybe if they had put up signs on the main streets directing people to the store or just marketed themselves better, the store would have stuck around. I don't know. And I was disappointed when they closed, but it's not my right to demand that the store stay open because I liked their products and they should be held accountable for their own bad marketing. No, they messed up. They'll deal with the consequences of it, and we deal with our disappointment as consumers. But we're not entitled to have those products back. This entire saga is this woman grasping at straws to make the whole campaign against Old Navy seem legitimate. She makes all these claims like the numbers aren't adding up and all the articles written about this topic are biased towards Old Navy.
In the article, they say that they didn't actually talk to anyone who is like higher up at Old Navy or Gap Inc. who owns Old Navy. They talked to like a couple customer service people who work there who attributed the low returns last quarter to the size expansion. It was mostly about bringing awareness to the fact that the numbers just don't add up. If Old Navy released sizes 0 through 30, all plus sizes in all of their stores as of August of 2021, then all of their stores should have on their website that they carry plus sizes. They do not. As far as them pulling the sizes out of store from the low performing stores, then tell me, why do the Old Navy employees not even know if their store is getting pulled? Wouldn't they know if their store is low performing if they haven't been able to sell the plus sizes? Because I have a lot of Old Navy employees in my comments telling me, oh, we haven't heard if we're one of the ones getting rid of it. I hope we're not. So they keep updating their website and then flipping it back, and then updating their website and then flipping it back. If it was solely based on their numbers, they would have that already, and they would have updated it one time, and it would have been really simple. Doesn't really seem to be that simple, which leads me to believe there may be some other shenanigans involved, which is why I made the spreadsheet, to bring more awareness to it. So I was thinking about Old Navy like all day yesterday after I posted that video, and I kept thinking about Wall Street Journal's angle, right? Because that first article that came out seemed to be very biased, which was why no quotes in the first article were sourced from anything legitimate, right? And it seemed like they were very much pushing a certain angle, which is why they were talking to just people who worked there, like in-store. So I'm very confused as to how plus sizes are the problem. But you admit that some stores wouldn't have this problem?
She's trying every single angle imaginable to make it seem like pulling the plus sizes out of stores is a grand conspiracy against fat people. All the sources seem biased towards Old Navy. The website hasn't been updated recently, so that means there's some shenanigans going on behind the scenes. The numbers don't add up. It's all a way of fabricating outrage. She said the store employees don't even know what sizes they're stocking anymore, but why would an Old Navy sales associate need to know what sizes they're stocking anymore? It's really not relevant to their jobs. There's no need to sit down everyone in the company and explain the strategy of, we're reducing the plus sizes in the future to increase the profits for the next quarter and blah, blah, blah. Sales associates don't need to know that to do their jobs. So why are you turning it into a massive cover-up for employees to not know exactly what sizes the store is stocking in the future? She also said that the journalists were getting random people's opinions. What do you think you're doing? Asking your small audience their experiences at Old Navy and using their responses as proof that the company is lying about their motives? It's the same thing. This is full-on conspiracy theory behavior, but I don't get where it comes from. This woman clearly believes that Old Navy is lying about their plus sizes being profitable, right? She keeps saying that removing the plus sizes doesn't add up, but what motivation does Old Navy have to remove a profitable clothing line? Because they purposefully want to keep plus size people from shopping in their stores? That doesn't make any sense. Why would a corporation hurt their own revenue in order to go out of their way to harm fat people? Especially after putting in the huge investment to expand the plus size line to begin with. I feel like she thinks there has to be a conspiracy behind this to justify all the work she's putting in. Like, if Old Navy did just get rid of the plus sizes in stores because they were unprofitable, then she couldn't justify all the work she's putting in to force them to bring it back. But if Old Navy is lying and the line was profitable and they got rid of it, then that justifies all the work she's putting in to force them to bring it back. That's the only way I can justify why she's convinced that Old Navy is lying about the plus size line not being successful. And this woman is far from the only fat activist on TikTok talking about this Old Navy drama. She's the most involved, but she's not the only one. This video was a lot. Why? Why is having clothing in every brand made in your size and selling them in stores a human right? Having an unlimited amount of clothes to shop for in person is an issue of accessibility. Being able to shop for a night out on a whim is an accessibility issue. I will never be able to wrap my head around that. Why is any of this a big deal? Isn't selling the clothes online accessible enough? Being able to buy things online used to be a luxury, but now I guess it's too popular to be accessible, so now it's inaccessible? What kind of reverse 2006 bullshit is this? I'm done.